My name is Wyatt Espalin. I'm from Hiawassee, Georgia, and I'm a fiddle player and a singer-songwriter based out of that little North Georgia town on Lake Chattooga.
Cool. So how'd you get started playing music?
Oh man, I started really young, about 8 years old. I joined a clogging team, which was all the rage in the mid 80s in our little town. There was about 4 or 5 clogging teams, and
What is clogging?
clogging is it's a style of dancing. I think it originated overseas in Germany and Scotland, and it kind of made its way to Appalachia and turned into a form of buck dancing, is what they call it, where you use little taps on your shoes and just when a jig is going, you just start dancing. It's incorporated with square dancing a lot, and a lot of fiddle banjo music is played in that, and I fell in love with the sound of that as a child, and I clogged pretty much every weekend for 10 years straight, from the age of 8 to 18, and won some state championships, was on championship team, and that's how I got started playing the fiddle. Is just falling in love with that old time music.
Because they play traditional music to back that
All
up.
those traditional songs, these old songs like Ragtime Annie and Chicken Reel, and just songs that kind of brought the resurgence of bluegrass. It's just
Yeah.
I grew up on that stuff. My granddaddy raised me, and he was always humming those tunes. He knew the words of all these old songs, and I would always ask him about them because they were confusing to me as a kid. But once he explained what some of the scenarios were, I was like, wow, these
Did he
people are
play?
really country. He played guitar. He tried to play guitar, but he could really sing. He was a really good singer and was always humming. I think he had perfect pitch because he would hum things in tune. He would sing along perfectly with songs on the radio, and but when he would do something a cappella when I'm riding around in the truck with him, man, it was like he just listened to the radio because he didn't sing out of tune.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
I always wanted to be a good singer like after him. He was a really good singer.
Cool. So yeah, you started playing based on that, and then so a little bit. Can you talk a little bit? So that got you into traditional music. Did you play a lot of bluegrass, old time? Does that influence your songwriting and the music you perform and write today?
Yeah, so as a songwriter, I'm definitely influenced by all that old time music I grew up on. Started writing bluegrass songs. I was playing a lot of old time music, and then I changed over to bluegrass. They're really two different things. We were clog dancing to all kinds of songs, and then of course we started clog dancing to like pop hits. That
Yeah.
became a thing in the early '90s. But the old time songs really had those beats, and an old time song can go on for 8 minutes. You just keep playing the same melody over and over, but you can change up your clogging routine with that. And a square dance needs to go that long.
Yeah.
But I eventually got into bluegrass, focusing more on singing and listening to harmony, and that got me into bluegrass. And a lot of these old time songs turned into bluegrass hits, and just changed the feeling of them a little bit. But there is a distinct difference. And as I started writing bluegrass songs, I started writing my own bluegrass songs and incorporating those old time fiddle tricks that I learned learning to play the fiddle into those songs. So if you listen to my bluegrass songs, they kind of sound like old time bluegrass, like Carter Family type style, and that's what I was really influenced by.
Cool. Where do you have a favorite old tune or anything?
I love the murder ballads are some of my favorites. So Knoxville Girl, Barbara Allen, the Banks of the Ohio. But I really love this old tune I love Angeline the Baker. It's probably my favorite old time tune, and it was one of the first tunes I learned playing fiddle. And I also learned an old song called Cluck Old Hen. That really changed the game. It was a minor key. It's fun to play on the fiddle. It's fun to sing. Got crazy lyrics, and that was the game changer. And then I heard Alison Krauss do a bluegrass fiddle version that wasn't the old time style, and she changed it to a major key, and I was just like, and blown away. So
Yeah.
that got me into really diving deep in the fiddle on old time songs, and then I started found myself teaching old time fiddle around that same time. So then I started kind of upping my game and trying to memorize the songs a little better, and
Yeah.
that's how I.
And you do teach still today with at the folk school some, don't you?
Yes, I haven't. I have taken a little break. I taught for 7 years with the Junior Appalachian Musician Program. It's called JAM, and over at the folk school, John C. Campbell Folk School in Brasstown, North Carolina, they sponsor that division. And I taught there for 7 years, and seen a lot of my students go on to be amazing musicians, and I've gotten them on stage to sing and play with me, and great fiddle players. Taught mainly fiddle, and learned a lot of old songs just by teaching,
Yeah.
just some of those songs that just get lost along the way, and somebody remembers it, and that's how we keep it alive, is just keep playing them.
Yeah, I agree. I think that passing it down is
Yeah.
kind of what this project is sort of about a little bit. So what do you think? What do you get out of playing? I know you write originals and perform them, but I know from time to time you still will play an old traditional tune. Just what do you think? What do you get out of playing that kind of music, or what is it about that kind of music that's important to you?
Well, it definitely reminds me of my childhood. It is something, I had a pretty volatile childhood, but I definitely have a lot of joy that came from music. So it takes me back to a place where I was inspired, and I was learning confidence about myself, and mastering an old time tune, even though some of these melodies are so simple, being able to master one as a young fiddle player was it built so much confidence in me, and I think that's where the joy comes from. I love going to old time jams and sitting in there and watching the dynamics of these older players as they welcome in younger players, and just seeing the new ways that you can play these old songs, adding harmony, twin fiddles, banjos picking out the melody with the claw hammer. There's just something really interesting about it. I think to the common person that would just show up at one of those jams, they might get bored hearing that same melody over and over. But if you're in the jam playing it and you're paying attention to the other instruments around you, there's so much you can learn, and just the different sounds together. I mean, there's nothing better than the sound of the banjo and the fiddle together, in my opinion.
Well, where could people see and hear you these days? What kind of places can they find you, or even online?
Yeah, you can check me out at WyattEspalinmusic.com, and I am a singer-songwriter. I perform all over the nation. I try to do about 150 shows a year. I also work at the Georgia Mountain Fairgrounds in Hiawassee, Georgia, as a music promoter and concert promoter, and my new album just was released in May of 26. It's called Lies from the Lonesome Valley, and you can definitely hear influences of that old time Appalachian style of music on there.
And that's on Spotify?
It's everywhere. You can stream it anywhere, yeah.
Well, thanks Wyatt. Appreciate
Thank
all
you.
you do for this kind of music.